thinking of, but I'm just going to go for it. So I grew up in London. Anyone here from London? Well, it's like half of you were saying yes and half of you were booing. Okay. So I grew up in London in a quaint little borough called Camden. Anyone know about Camden? So what are we famous for? Anyone, just shout it out. What are we famous for? Prostitutes. Okay, we're gonna go down a route like that today. I'm gonna tell you about, my upbringing and coming of age stories. So prostitution, down that road. So, Camden, for me in my mind, famous for our canals, music, and rampaging drug abuse. So I grew up in Camden, and I went to a school called Camden School for Girls, right? And unfortunately, most of my coming-of-age stories do involve drugs. But I'll tell you what, the friends that got me into drugs, they were all middle class. Every single one of them had a parent who had a home. So whoever's gonna blame poor people for drugs, no. You need money for drugs. You need money for drugs. So my parents did not have money, but I was entrepreneurial. So I thought to myself as a young child, okay, I need to make £10 for an ecstasy pill and £10 for the illegal rave fee to get in. And then I got my 16 plus Oyster card. So all I needed was £20. So anyone know about bake sales? Anyone ever done a bake sale? So I used to raise money for bake sales to go to raves, right? And it's a shameful time. I feel guilty for using charity, the name of charity, to go to illegal raves. But that is what I did. I didn't have money and I was entrepreneurial. So I thought, I'm not going to go for a basic charity. If I'm going to make money for raves, I'm going to choose a really obscure, really professional sounding one. So I'm looking online on the alphabetical order of charities, and I see one. The Empowerment of Women and Children in East Africa. Okay, that sounds really obscure, so I'm going to use it. And I go to school, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this charity fundraising. And a guy comes up to me, and he's one of those guys who's from private school but acts really rude. You know those guys that are like, they sound like from the road, but you're not. You're not. And you can tell. One of them came up and he was like, so what are you raising money for? And I was like, okay, cool, you know this, Micah. The Empowerment of Women and Children in East Africa. And he was like, is that even a real charity? And I was like, I'm just trying to get to the rave, Jackson. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And at one of these raves, these infamous raves I used to go to, I got my first ever nickname. Do you guys want to know the nickname? Shit Socks. Shit Socks was the nickname. And do you guys want to hear the story? Okay. So as you can tell, I'm quite small. Like I'm quite small. I taken an ecstasy pill, and what happens when you take ecstasy? For me. You need a shit. You need to take a shit. I got to the rave. I'd given my £10 to someone who was probably a criminal. And we were in an abandoned post office, but I got in, and the lights, and the people, and the jungle. I was so ready for it. And then as soon as I got there, I lost everyone I knew. Everyone I knew was gone. And I needed to take a shit really badly. And I'm coming up, I'm looking under the vans. Can I go under one of those vans? Because I fit under there. And then I find my friend Megan from my Essex days at 12 years old. And I see her and I go, Megan, I need a shit. Can you help me find the toilet? And she goes, yeah, babe, don't worry about it. We're gonna find the toilet, babe. So we go through the crowd. I see people I know on ecstasy coming up. Yeah, I need a shit, And find the toilet, a mountain of shit. And I'm thinking, this is us. We are human animals. So what do? What any civilized young girl would do, I put the lid down and I squatted over it. Looking around, I didn't think about plan B. What happens after you've taken the shit? After you've taken the shit, you got to wipe. And I look around thinking, is there any post, anything from this abandoned post office that I could use? But there was nothing. And meanwhile, Megan's there. She's my door. There's no door, by the way. And she's like, don't worry about it, babe. I'm like, Megan, I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Megan. And she's like, don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it, babe. And so I'm there, squatted on the lid of the toilet, and I find the best possible thing I could find. And guys, if you're ever in this situation, socks are so absorbent. I only needed one. So I got my sock and I wiped my ass, and then I told everyone, I'm kind of, guys, I just took a shit in the toilet and I used my sock. You're never gonna believe it. And then I've come down, it's the morning. It was the worst morning of my life. There was a guy who came, we were in the centre of Woodford, we got stuck because the trains weren't running, in the centre of Woodford. And this guy comes up in a suit, and I'm like, oh shit, is this secret police? And he goes, hey, so where you guys been? And we're like, oh yeah, a rave. He's like, yeah. Oh, I've just been at a wedding. And he goes, yeah, I've been on ecstasy, cocaine, pills. He looks at me and he goes, she looks worse than I do. And I've got my hood up and I'm like, please take me home, mummy. And he's 2D to me. And then eventually we find the train. He's just a 2. And I used to do this. My teenage years, my brain got a bit messed up. I get bored in school and everything would just turn 2D. And I was being like, yeah, okay. So I'm going to the tube station. We're getting the tube. And one of the guys I actually fancied, he goes, hey, shit socks! And I'm like, oh, fuck's sake. And obviously, I look quite embarrassed. And then a guy from my primary school comes in as the wise sage and he goes, why are you embarrassed for? A human's got to do what a human's got to do. And that's me. I'm shit socks, but please don't call me that.